first thing, whenever you look, you collect information and supply fuel for the inner restlessness. Second thing, that restlessness expresses itself through your eyes. Just by look, you can reduce beings into matter. Whenever you look at something with an intention of exploiting it, some person or some product, whatever maybe, whenever you look at something with the intention of using it, with the intention of what I can get out of him, what I can get out of her, you reduce that person to a product. You reduce that person into a matter. If you can look at a matter without having any intention to exploit or use, you can raise even that matter to the level of spirit. These two ideas, if you can understand these two ideas, you will be able to relate to this sutra. Whenever you look at somebody with a lust, you reduce that person into a matter. That is why whenever somebody looks at you with a lust, immediately you feel you are disrespected, you are abused. Women have that deep intuition. They know what far he is looking and where he is looking. Because they have to protect themselves. They are so sharp, intuitively. They know the purpose just with one glance or just one look. They know the purpose. Whenever somebody looks at you as object of enjoyment, you feel you are disrespected because he is reducing you as an object. He is reducing you as a product of utility, as a utility object. You are no more a being, you are no more a human being. He is planning how to exploit what I can get out of him or her, what I can have from her. You know, whenever somebody looks at you with the wrong intention to use you, you feel you are disrespected, you are abused. Whenever you look at somebody with the feeling what I can do for that person, what I can give, how can I add something to his life or to her life, you are making that person as spirit, you are respecting that person as a human being. But whenever you look with the intention of having something from her or him, using that person for some purpose, be very clear, you are reducing him or her as a matter. Look plays a major role in your experience of the outer world and the inner world. One more example you need to understand. If you are sitting in front of a fire, you don't look at the fire, you will not feel the temperature so much. A simple example. If you are sitting in front of a fire, don't look at the fire, just look at something, look at somewhere else. You will not feel the heat. If you start gazing at the fire, maybe the distance is safe, but you will start experiencing the heat because your awareness, your attention is on the fire. Now constantly you are reminded, because there is a fire, you should feel the heat, you should feel the heat. So naturally, your consciousness starts cooperating, it starts helping you to feel or experience the heat. whatever you see, you start thinking about it, and your consciousness helps you to experience that in an intense way. You are made to experience that in an intense way. You are made to feel that in a deeper way. First thing we need to understand, looking, seeing, transforms the quality of your experience. Second thing, if you see somebody with a motive, with an intention, with an idea of getting something out of that person, you reduce him or her to a matter. If you see the matter without any intention, just in an empty way, you are just taking even the matter to the level of consciousness with the intention to explore. Even spirit becomes matter. Without any intention, even the matter becomes spirit. Whenever you look at the dead objects, either you think what I can get from it, or you plan how I can possess it. If you do not have both this intuition, both these intentions, you will start experiencing the object in a totally different way. The first Upanishad mantra says, Isha Vashyam Itam Sarvam. Whatever exists is energy. Whatever exists is God. Then why we are not realizing it? Because we are looking at the God with the intention of having some benefits. Be very clear. Even if you approach God with the intention of having some benefit, you reduced him to a matter. You have disrespected him. Even if you approach the divine with the intention of utility, then be very clear, you are not praying to God, you are praying to somebody who can give you something. If somebody else promises that he will give you, deliver that product, you will just forget God. You will go to that person because the product is the center, not the God himself. The utility, that is the center, not the divine itself. With the intention of utility, you reduce even the spirit into matter. Without the intention, when you are open, empty, even the matter becomes spirit. Even the matter becomes spirit. There is a deep research in the inner consciousness was happening in the Vedic time. How to achieve the state in which you are not disturbed by your actions. You are not disturbed by outward objects. Such a research went on. In the West also the same research happened. How you can start living without being disturbed by the basic things. In the East also the same research went on, but two different directions. Make a simple drawing and explain to you how the research happened in the East and in the West. How we developed techniques, they developed science. How the inner science techniques gives you the solution and the outer science things adds more and more problem, more and more complications. Maybe that understanding will make you understand this technique in a more clear way, because the technique itself is very simple. But unless you understand the root, you will not be able to practice it. You will ask me, Swamiji, learning meditation is difficult. I tell them no. Teaching meditation, it takes only 2-3 words. But convincing you to meditate takes 2-3 days. To teach you meditation, it does not take more than 2-3 words. 2-3 words is more than enough to teach you meditation. But to convince you to meditate, it takes 2-3 days. So now, what I am doing is marketing, not the product itself. First, I have to convince you. Only then you will be able to do it. We work from 3 levels. Super conscious. All our actions, decision making, everything happens in conscious level. If the actions, decision making, everything enters into unconscious level, you will not be disturbed by it. For example, sometimes you may start driving from your house to the office, from your home to office. Half an hour you have taken half an hour to reach your office. But only after reaching your office, suddenly you will realize for past half an hour you are driving. You may not have even remembered. You have taken so many decisions when you were driving. So many times you would have stopped at the signal, you would have changed the gears, you would have pressed the brake, you would have done so many things. But you don't even remember. You are not disturbed by those actions. Your consciousness was not disturbed. Only when you stop your car, suddenly you realize for half an hour you are driving. Sometimes you even forget that you have taken so many decisions. Actually, so many people would have been there on the street. So many times you would have reduced your speed. So many things you would have done. But you don't even remember. Only after stopping the car you remember. Many of you would have experienced this. Means the driving and the decisions which need to be taken for driving, all of them have entered into the unconscious zone. This can happen by practice. All the Western education system is based on this. Driving your activities, driving all your activities into the unconscious zone, so that your consciousness is relaxed. Human beings always wanted to have a peaceful, relaxed consciousness. All the Western education system, their lifestyle is based on this. They drive all your thoughts, actions, decision making, everything into unconscious zone. That is why so much of standardization in the West. So much of standardization, so that your consciousness does not need to suffer to do anything big. You do not have to take many decisions to do anything big. That is why so much of standardization. Science is always towards the standardization, because that pushes everything, all your decision making, everything into unconscious zone. Your consciousness will be peaceful, relaxed. But our masters, the Vedic rishis, have worked with a different line. The science was working to put all the actions in the unconscious zone, so that your consciousness will not be disturbed. Our masters have done research in the other way. They work to raise your consciousness to a superconscious zone, so that you will not be disturbed. All all our actions are basically happening in conscious zone. In conscious zone, they are basically happening. If you push them to unconscious, the decision making, actions, if you push them to unconscious, your conscious will be peaceful. It won't be restless. That is one method which Westerners tried. But they missed one important point. If you push all these things in the unconscious zone, they can come out even when you are not working, even when you are sitting silently. Eastern masters, Vedic rishis have done research in the other way. They tried to lift you from conscious to superconscious zone. They try to lift you from conscious to superconscious zone so that you will not be disturbed by the outer world activities or outer world objects. Two different directions. If all your activities are pushed into the unconscious, you will not be disturbed. Many times you will not be even aware for 2-3 days for all the actions which you are doing. You may not be even aware in which sofa you are sitting in your house. You can, if you just look a little deeply, you will understand. You will be sitting in the same sofa every day. You will forget there are some more seats in your house. Practically, you will be using the same way in your house. If you see what all the portions you are using in your house, actually, if you bend your leg and ask you to walk, it will only, then you will be able to understand. You are using only one part of your house. You may not be even using all the sofas in the hall. Because whenever the decisions and things are standardized, your consciousness does not suffer. So you always tend to standardize things. You always tend to push the things into unconscious. Pushing things into unconscious is what we call training. Training means pushing them into unconscious so that you can do that activity and use your consciousness to do something else. You are trained driver means you can drive and your mind can be doing something else. That is what we mean by the word trained driver. That is what we mean by the word trained person. Any training pushes your decision making into unconsciousness, so that your consciousness will be completely available to you. It will be available for you to do whatever you want. Here, our masters have tried in a totally different way. They tried in the other direction. Instead of pushing your thoughts, decision making, activities into unconscious, they try to elevate you to superconscious, so that you will be constantly experiencing that peace, even if all activities are happening inside your being. Pushing all your thoughts, plans, decision making, everything into unconscious is called pravritti. Pushing yourself into superconsciousness is called nivritti. In Sanskrit, we have two words, pravritti and nivritti. Pushing them to unconscious is pravritti. Pushing them to superconscious is nivritti. This technique is technique to push you into superconsciousness. This technique is technique to help you to enter into a zone where you will not be disturbed even if you take thousands of decisions every day. Even if you are working constantly every day. Even if you are surrounded by so many different objects every day. The purpose of the whole spirituality is to make you live in peace, even if you are surrounded by many activities or the objects. The search or the seeking to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel peaceful, even amidst too many activities, even when you are surrounded by too many objects, happened in two different directions. One, making all your thoughts, decision making into unconscious. If you are trained for something, you can go on doing the same thing, but your mind will be available to you to do something else. The initial level, when you start driving, you will not be able to do everything. If you do, then you will not be able to do anything.